In the frigid, vast expanse of the Nares Strait, nestled almost perfectly between Canada's Ellesmere Island and Danish-owned Greenland, lies a tiny, desolate rock. This is Hans Island, uninhabited, barren, and only 1.3 square kilometers in size. It seems an unlikely stage for an international dispute. Yet for nearly 50 years, this island was the heart of the so-called Whiskey War, perhaps the most passive-aggressive and friendliest conflict in modern history. The story begins not with a bang, but with a line on a map. In 1973, Canada and Denmark sat down to formally demarcate their maritime boundaries. They drew a line through the strait, but when they reached Hans Island, they stopped. According to international law, a country can claim territory within 12 nautical miles of its coast. Hans Island inconveniently sat within the territorial waters of both nations. Unable to agree, they simply left a gap in the border, leaving the island's fate undecided. For a decade, the issue lay dormant. Then in 1984, the war began. The Danish Minister of Greenland Affairs, Tom Høyem, flew to the island via helicopter. He planted a Danish flag and alongside it, left a bottle of Danish schnapps. To ensure the message was clear, he also left a sign that read, "Welcome to the Danish island." This act of playful provocation did not go unnoticed. Canada soon responded in kind. Canadian soldiers landed on the island, dutifully took down the Danish flag and raised their own maple leaf. Beside it, they placed a bottle of Canadian Club Rye whiskey. A new tradition was born. Over the next 4 decades, this humorous ritual continued. Military personnel from both sides would periodically visit Hans Island. They would ceremoniously lower the other country's flag, raise their own, and leave behind their respective national spirit. Whiskey for the Canadians, schnapps for the Danes. These invasions became a point of pride, a quirky footnote in the otherwise peaceful relationship between the two NATO allies. The conflict was fought not with guns and soldiers, but with flags and liquor. It was a war where the only shots fired were shots of alcohol, a symbol of good-natured rivalry rather than genuine hostility. Finally, after decades of this spirited exchange, diplomacy prevailed. On June 14, 2022, the foreign ministers of Canada and Denmark met in Ottawa. They signed an agreement that officially divided the small island almost exactly in half, creating the first-ever land border between Canada and Greenland, and by extension, with the European Union. The world's friendliest war was over. The story of Hans Island serves as a charming reminder that not all international disputes need to end in conflict. Sometimes they can be resolved with a bit of patience, a sense of humor, and perhaps a shared drink. A testament to peaceful coexistence, proving that even in geopolitics, friendship can find a way.